$1,400 stimulus check updates, $1,400 reconciliation. Lots of updates in this video. What's going on, you guys? It's Ron here. Hope you guys are doing just fine. Today is Wednesday. It's a late one, but I'm back with another stimulus package update and stimulus check update on this video. So let's go ahead and jump right into the news updates. And I've got lots of new developments to go over with you guys with regard to the negotiations on President Biden's COVID relief package. So of course, in this video, I'm going to be talking with you guys about that. Also, the Senate just passed a reconciliation motion. More details on that later on. And more specifically, a certain letter written by some leading economists warning Congress against the risks of providing too little in economic relief. Definitely a sign that we're going to be going bigger on that next stimulus package as opposed to smaller. So what exactly is in that letter? We're definitely going to find out in just a little bit. And I also heard that they wrote this as GOP senators push for a smaller package. Remember that $600 billion Republican counterproposal? Yep, that's the one. We're also going to talk about some of the additional details in that letter in this video. And finally, and this one's kind of shocking, we're hearing that the demands to go big on the next stimulus package is not just coming from the Democratic side of Congress, but apparently a Republican is also on board with it now. It definitely feels like the tides are changing a little bit, which is a great thing for us. So what exactly is the reason behind this change of heart? And could this mean a faster approval for the stimulus plan? Because it certainly seems like they're starting to get on the same team with everything now. But of course, if you want to know all about that, be sure to watch until the end of this video. But before I get into it, I'd like to say welcome back to all my subscribers. I really appreciate you guys. And for those who are brand new to the channel, my name is Ron. We cover all things personal finance, investing, how to generate multiple streams of income, and of course, stimulus check updates and stimulus package updates. So if you haven't already, definitely subscribe to the channel and tap the notification bell so that you know as soon as I release new videos and content. And speaking of notifications, if you guys missed the last video, make sure you check out the previous video. I don't know what was going on with notifications, but no one got notifications. People in the Facebook group were letting me know. So if you missed out on that last update, you missed out on a lot of information. I talked about SSI, SSDI, VA, railroad recipient benefits, a number of different things. So if you missed that video, after this video, definitely check it out. So, I'll leave a link for that video down below because a lot of people missed out on that information and a lot of people were asking about SSI on that one. So, all right, guys. So just a few days ago, a group of 10 Republican senators suggested a bipartisan stimulus bill that is less than 1/3 the size of what President Joe Biden put forward. Now, what they proposed is a $600 billion relief package, which was significantly smaller than what President Biden's $1.9 trillion stimulus plan was. Now, obviously, size does matter. Now, they did send a letter to the White House requesting a meeting with the president to discuss their counteroffer, and that particular meeting was held last Monday. And while according to the reports, it was a very productive exchange of ideas, and it was also said that President Biden would not settle for a stimulus package that fails to meet the needs at the moment. Now, I gotta give President Biden props. He's in the office. He already, he's secured his position. Let's see if he's gonna bring the bacon home for us though, right? So apparently he thinks that the $600 billion stimulus proposal is way too small and may not be sufficient to provide the necessary crisis response that we need right now. Now, that's a good thing, right? And as far as we know, that's also how the Democrats feel about the compromise suggested by the GOP senators. So what the Democrats want is a larger stimulus package and they want it right now. But let me tell you guys that they're not the only people who see it this way. And in a letter addressed to congressional leaders just last Monday, a group of top economists and think tank leaders urged lawmakers to quickly pass a large relief package, voicing support for the president's $1.9 trillion stimulus check proposal. Now, they also asserted their proposition by saying President Biden's $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan, with its critical public health investments to beat COVID-19, its aid to help struggling families, and its assistance to states, localities, tribes, and territories, is an appropriate scale of new spending under current conditions. So apparently they're acknowledging the wide range of potential help that President Joe Biden's plan could bring. Now, in addition to that, they also said the risk from providing too little relief and economic recovery far outweighs the risk of providing too much. Now, this is exactly what I've been talking about before. The risks of providing too little are actually a greater risk to the economy and present even more systemic risk than providing too much. They went on to say that we urge you to act quickly to pass a robust pandemic relief package to control the virus, address hardship, and boost the economy. Now, personally, what I think what they're saying here in this letter has to really be considered by the government. I mean, members of Congress can't continue acting as though they can't hear what economists are saying. And it's like, what is the point of having macro economists on your staff if you're not even going to take their recommendations? But this is not the first time that the experts have called on them to pass a larger relief bill. This is not the first time that they've outlined the repercussions that we could be facing if they did not act boldly in terms of addressing this pandemic. And economists are experts in their field. It's literally that simple. Like, what is going on? If we're facing an economic struggle right now, then who should we listen to? Unless every one of these senators who's against it has a macroeconomist degree, then where is the validity of their argument? But the reality is this, the country definitely needs urgent help. Paul Krugman, who is a Nobel Prize winning economist and professor at City University of New York, strongly criticized the Republicans' offer in a Twitter thread just last Sunday. So Paul says, so ours want Biden to drastically scale back economic relief in the name of bipartisanship. Obviously ours being Republicans. Their offer is insultingly inadequate, and their claims that using reconciliation would poison the well are rich, given how they rammed through the 2017 tax cut. Now that's pretty straightforward, downright and direct to the point. Now the letter from last Monday was signed by the leading economists such as Thea Lee, the president of Economic Policy Institute. You've also got Clegg Learson, who is the chief economist at Washington Center for Equitable Growth, and many, many more. But for me, I would love to see how members of Congress react to the letter, given that it was directly addressed to them. But I guess we'll find out more about that in the next few days. All right, next up, the Senate has also just passed a reconciliation motion. But let me explain what this is really about, right? It's not the third stimulus check package. Let me go ahead and break this down for you guys, right? So basically, the Senate clears path for Biden's stimulus plan to be pushed through reconciliation. So while President Biden continues to discuss a stimulus deal with Republicans, Democrats are readying a procedure that would allow them to be able to pass much of the legislation without Republican votes. Now, the Senate passed a procedural motion with a 50-49 vote to move forward with a budget resolution, clearing the way for passing many provisions included in President Joe Biden's $1.9 trillion stimulus package through reconciliation on Tuesday. Now, according to Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, he said that Joe Biden is totally on board with using reconciliation. He went on to say that I've been talking to him every day. Our staffs have been talking multiple times a day. Now, we've been talking about this reconciliation process for quite some time now. And, just to give you guys a quick recap, the reconciliation process is a budget rule that would allow Democrats to pass some relief provisions with a simple majority of 51 votes and would not require support from the GOP senators. Now, this is exactly what we have been talking about for the last several weeks now. And one of the benefits of the Democrats having a 50-50 position or 50-50 stake inside of the Senate, because Kamala Harris, who is a Democratic vice president, she would serve as a tiebreaker, assuming that they went the reconciliation route, which would bypass the need to have 60 votes to pass any type of legislation. They could simply use reconciliation, which would allow them to take the 50 votes that they have, assuming that all Democrats are on board with this, and then ultimately Kamala Harris would serve as a tie-breaking vote, which would allow them to be able to pass legislation without the help of Republicans. Now, since I've already mentioned the $600 billion Republican proposal, we might as well cover the details of that particular offer. Now, their plan would match the $160 billion in President Biden's plan for additional COVID-19 testing, the vaccine distribution, as well as the treatment. And they call it their direct COVID pandemic response. Now, although part of their proposal seems to mirror the president's relief package, unfortunately for us, it substantially scales back or completely cuts out priorities. Now, what am I talking about, right? Well, for one, instead of the $1,400 stimulus checks to most Americans, the GOP or the Republicans or the grand old party, for those who don't know what GOP means, offer plans to provide stimulus checks that are only worth about $1,000. And mind you, this would only be given to a smaller group of Americans. In fact, only those who are earning up to $50,000 annually. So obviously there's a huge difference from President Biden's idea on how stimulus checks would actually be dispersed. Now, even if the president does push through with the $1,400 stimulus checks and decides to make them more targeted, we're still going to see a different result. Plus, another thing is that according to reports, their proposal would also provide less in weekly federal unemployment assistance, which you might think is already bad. But what's even worse is that they also plan to completely dismiss President Biden's provision to raise the federal minimum wage to $15 per hour. So clearly the $1.3 trillion difference between what the GOP's proposal is and what President Joe Biden's original $1.9 trillion proposal is would really cause a lot of change to the terms of the stimulus package. And we're gonna see these changes if the counteroffer gets approved. but I highly doubt that we're going to see that approval come through. But take note that I did say if, right? I really don't see it going through, but if it does go through, there would be a lot of changes happening. But again, that's a big if. So, because last I heard, Democrats still hold the majority of seats in the Senate, a razor-thin majority, but still it's a majority. And we must know that the Democrats appear to be growing impatient with their GOP colleagues. They want to see urgent actions and they want to see them be big. But it seems like right now, the Democrats aren't the only members of Congress to prefer a larger package. Let me know down in the comments if you guys are for a larger package or not, right? Republican West Virginia Governor Jim Justice also called on Congress to go big in the next stimulus package. He said that trying to be fiscally responsible at this point in time is impractical. Now that's surprising. Also, in an interview with CNN, he also argued we can't hold back. Now that is definitely something that I would love to hear from more Republicans in the coming days. I really just don't know how they would react to that. But for me, it's kind of funny to think that, he spoke about this just after members of his own party laid down their most modest $600 billion counterproposal. I mean, this guy's got guts, right? I mean, like his entire party is for this tiny package and he's like, nah, I'm not going with the crowd. So that's what's up in my book, Jim Justice. And in fact, he also said, if we actually throw away some money right now, so what? So he's definitely on the opposite end of the Republican spectrum. Now, Justice's comments come as West Virginia's Democratic Senator Joe Manchin urged his colleagues to rein in spending and even threaten to derail the passage of President Joe Biden's 1.9 stimulus plan. Now, this is messed up because this is exactly what I was talking about, right? Now, although we have a 50-50 majority within the Senate, you need 100% of the Democrats to be on board in the Senate. Now, if Joe Manchin is going to be the one oddball out of the Democrats, then we're going to have to make up for that by having at least one of the Republicans to be on board while the others are not. And just to give you guys an idea, what Joe Manchin wants is a more targeted stimulus check as well as a lower overall price tag. So really, Congress is pretty much as divided as it comes when it comes to their opinions on the terms and the value of this COVID relief bill. But it's really intriguing to see how things are going to end up for us in this country. But if you want to know more about how things are going to go in the next coming days, be sure to subscribe to the channel, tap the notification bell so that you know as soon as I release new videos and content. And like I said, the previous video, for whatever reason, it didn't send out the notification. So right after this video, be sure to check out the video from before that, because more than likely you didn't get a chance to see it because everybody else was telling me, hey Ron, I didn't see the notification. But as much as I would love to share more information with you guys right now, that is all I have for this particular video. But anyway, guys, that is all for the stimulus check update and stimulus package update. And don't forget to check out the previous video because a number of people were telling me that they did not receive notifications on it. I don't know what was going on, but tons of people have messaged me, Ron, you didn't do an update today. I'm like, I did do an update. Check out the previous video. And so many people were hitting me up saying, hey, I didn't get a notification. So anyway, that's all for this stimulus check update, stimulus package update. Be sure to check out the previous video as well. And if you enjoyed this video, definitely share it with your friends and family. And I will see you guys on the next one. Take care.